Spiritual awakening is energetic, not intellectual. Most people think it starts with a realization, but it actually starts with a collision, a tug of war between your outer habits and your inward soul. That quiet restlessness or feeling stuck is the first sign your prana is trying to break through to a higher state. By the end of this video, you will discover the science behind that process. Why awakening begins energetically, how prana shapes your spiritual evolution, and how to consciously direct that energy towards lasting clarity, balance, and purpose. Welcome to YogiEvolve with Amrita. I remember having long conversations with my friends about this feeling of not having a clear purpose in life, of feeling listless and uninterested. The strange part was that at the time, my career in IT was going good. From outside, everything looked fine. Yet, something within kept telling me there had to be more. One thing was clear: my career success couldn't fix this restlessness because it was happening deep within. Like many of you, I spent hours searching for answers on the internet. But you don't have to go through that search. Through my journey as a Kriya Yogi and my deep study of Paramhansa Yogananda's teachings, I have found a much clearer way to understand what was really happening within. This video is the first of a three-part series called The Science of Spiritual Awakening. In this first part, we will uncover why awakening begins with energy, not the intellect, and build the foundation for everything that follows. At the heart of it all is the relationship between the lower self and the higher self. If those terms sound unfamiliar or even a little bit confusing, don't worry. I remember wondering, are there really three versions of me? We'll make complete sense of that as we go. For now, let's stay with the big picture. As these two opposing poles begin acting within us, we start experiencing an internal conflict that shows up as restlessness, discontent, or a loss of direction. Some people resist this inner call and gradually return to familiar patterns, carrying a quiet sense of discomfort. Others begin to listen, and that is where the journey of spiritual awakening truly begins. Anandamoy Ma expressed this beautifully through the example of a train traveling on its track. She said that our free will is like choosing whether to walk towards the front compartment, towards God, or towards the rear, away from God. The train continues to move along its track according to its destination. In the same way, our life is always moving us forward. We are truly never stagnant. Through our free will, we can either cooperate with that movement or resist it. To understand this process, we first need to understand three fundamental aspects of our inner life. They are constantly interacting, shaping our thoughts, our emotions, our decisions, and ultimately our spiritual growth. They are prana, the lower self, and the higher self. Don't worry if some of these ideas feel unfamiliar right now. We'll build this understanding together, one step at a time. Before long, you will find yourself using these terms in your daily life. These three aspects play a key role in the evolution of the soul. When you understand how they work together, you will gain not only greater clarity, but also a practical understanding of what to do next. Let's begin with the first aspect, prana or life force energy. Every time you feel a surge of enthusiasm or a wave of exhaustion, you're experiencing the movement of prana. Prana is the conscious, intelligent force that animates the body, powers the mind, and governs countless processes within us without our conscious effort. Every breath we take, every thought we think, every movement we make depends on this subtle life force. Paramhansa Yogananda described this life energy as being composed of countless tiny unit of intelligent energy called lifetrons. Together, they form our astral or light body and animate every living cell. When prana withdraws from the body becomes lifeless. To understand spiritual awakening, we need to understand one of the fundamental laws governing prana. We are trained to use our prana in this outward direction. As long as prana flows outward toward the senses, desires, attachments, and constant engagement with external world, our awareness remains identified with material world. But when the flow of prana reverses, drawing it inward towards the spine and upward through it to the spiritual eye, it marks the beginning of a transformation. A quiet discomfort grips our being as this is new to our system. During this transition, many people experience an unexpected sense of restlessness or a loss of purpose. The old ways of finding fulfillment no longer satisfy, yet the deeper joy of divine communion has yet not been realized. The previous balance has been disturbed. This is inevitable in every soul's journey. If not in this lifetime, then in another, this transition will come. Swami Kriyananda expressed this beautifully when he said, the dices are loaded, meaning that every soul is ultimately destined to reach divine union. So, an important question naturally arises. If we are finally moving towards the front of the train, towards God, why does it feel so much like a struggle? Why doesn't it feel like bliss right away? Imagine a strong river that has been flowing in one direction for many years. Its course cannot suddenly be changed without creating turbulence. In much the same way, prana has spent many lifetimes flowing outward towards the world. As it begins to turn inward, there is often a period of inner conflict and instability. For some people, especially those with strong identification with ego, this inner conflict can feel quite intense. For others, it is experienced more as stagnation, restlessness, or a quiet sense that something is no longer working as it did once. This happens because there is a part of us that continues to pull our awareness outward. We call this the lower self. It is an accumulation of conscious, intelligent energy formed through the experiences of many lifetimes. Paramhansa Yogananda referred to this as subconscious. It is not merely a storehouse of memories, but an intelligent force that continually seeks expression through familiar thoughts, desires, and patterns. Its role has been essential in helping us grow through the material world. So, it naturally resists this inward movement of prana. At the same time, another aspect of our being has been quietly developing through many lifetimes. Every act of kindness, compassion, selfless service, gratitude, and sincere spiritual effort strengthens this higher nature. As this higher energy gathers strength, it creates a force that directs our consciousness towards what Paramhansa Yogananda called superconscious. We call this the higher self. It is this higher self that creates the inward flow of prana and gently draws a consciousness towards God. It is the true initiator of our spiritual evolution. But if the higher self is always guiding us towards God, what prevents us from following it? I have already given you the answer. I'll give you a moment to gather your thoughts before we explore it further, because understanding this is key to understanding what is happening within you and how to change it. The answer lies in deeply ingrained habit we have developed over many lifetimes. For so long, our awareness has been identified with the ego and absorbed in the material world. We have become accustomed to seeking fulfillment outside ourselves, making it difficult to tune into the quiet guidance of divine consciousness and recognize its higher purpose for our lives. Yet, something has begun to change. The outer world no longer brings the same fulfillment because the soul is ready for its next stage of evolution. But the momentum of many lifetimes gives the lower self tremendous power to pull us back towards familiar patterns, while the higher self has grown strong enough to draw us towards something greater. Although life may appear stagnant on the surface, what we experience is not laziness or inactivity. It is a dynamic state of inner tension, like a tug of war, where both sides are pulling with equal strength. This is where the real inner shift begins. It is this inner struggle that we experience as restlessness, confusion, and feeling of being stuck. Yet in reality, it is often one of the clearest signs that spiritual awakening has already begun. So, how do we move beyond this inner struggle into a state of flow? For many people, this is where the lower self makes its strongest attempt to regain control. It creates fear of unknown and tempts us to return to what feels familiar. We may seek temporary comfort, even in spirituality itself, without fully committing to the inner transformation that awakening requires. This inner struggle brings us to a decisive moment. Do we move forward or do we go back? As Anandamoyima said, the train continues to move, but instead of walking towards the front of the compartment, we choose to walk towards the rear. But those who choose to walk towards the front experience something very different. The higher self begins to prevail, and the change is unmistakable. You no longer seek spirituality merely for comfort. You seek it for transformation. You begin meditating sincerely. You seek authentic spiritual guidance. You question that pattern that has governed your life. And you study deeper spiritual teachings with genuine interest. And above all, you respond to the inner call with commitment, discipline in your sadhana, service to the Guru, and a sincere desire to know God. This is the point where spiritual awakening begins to move from an inner possibility to a conscious way of life. Our next step is a choice. As Ananda Moima said, the train is already moving. Choice before us is whether we continue walking towards the front, towards God, or return to what is familiar. If that is your choice, then the next question becomes obvious. How do we overcome the resistance of the lower self? How do we help the higher self gradually become the guide of our lives? How do we allow prana to continue its inward journey towards divine consciousness? That's exactly what we will explore in part 2. Thank you for being part of this journey with me. I look forward to seeing you in part 2. Jai Guru. God bless you.